Chapter 2 The Dark Spirit's Menace. And then it came to me, the few of Tom's final words. Dark Spirit. I recalled what I read in the library a few weeks back, and without thinking, I got out of bed after hours of doing nothing and ran as fast as I could to the library. On my way, I heard Maya say, "Hey Drake, you joining us for dinner?" But I ignored everything while I had just one goal in mind. I had to get to the library. As I made it to the training room, I remembered the handprint and started worrying I couldn't get in, seeing as Calypso wasn't available to open it. But after taking a shot in the dark, I was surprised to see it open anyway. I wondered why it worked with me. After I opened the next passageway, I arrived at the lectern with the book. "Welcome, Drake," the book spoke. "I heard what happened. My condolences." "What? Wait, you know? You could say I carry unlimited knowledge." "What exactly are you?" "I am a creation, one that is exceeded by only a few." "And you know about my mother?" "You are welcome to pause, but I would like to tell you a story, if I may. Would you like to hear it? You may find it informative." Sure, why not? Sit down." The book I had spoken with multiple times suddenly showed me a whole different character. While it felt like it spoke in a robotic, coded way, it now showed more humanity. It wasn't just made to tell riddles, apparently. Once upon a time, there were two great friends. They lived in harmony within a world full of magic. But harmony didn't last long. The girl was meant to inherit the throne as soon as she would turn 18. Her mother had passed away when she was younger, but her father remained by her side. But it wouldn't be long until he, too, would be out of her life. The friend, a young runaway, was envious of her inheritance and her gifts. After they had created a world of knowledge together, the painful truth that the boy could never be in possession of this forbidden knowledge turned him into something dark. This led to an end to their friendship, but it wouldn't be the last time they spoke. I felt like the story sounded familiar, but couldn't yet figure out where I'd heard of it before. On the day she turned 18, he did a terrible thing. Before her father could crown her, the boy barged into the palace and demanded the throne. All he craved was power, but the one who the throne belonged to would never rule, but simply look out for the land. But the boy could never understand that. He inflicted harm on the people who did not support his wishes, and the day he interrupted the crowning, he killed for the first time. Before the boy could show his power, fueled by darkness, the girl's father asked his daughter to flee. He wanted to keep her safe but never knew what would happen. As she tried to escape, the boy would not let her, and when her father tried to stop him, he was murdered. The daughter witnessed the horror as she was forced to flee from her home. The boy, blinded by darkness, had done a terrible thing. Eventually, his reign drove him away, into the outskirts of the land, where he remained for years. This provided the opportunity to rebuild, but the girl never returned. I wondered where the story was heading. Many years passed. During these years, 5 children were born. 1, 2, 3, and 4 were put to the test, to see if they were worthy enough to fulfill a certain destiny. But despite what they thought they knew, 3 never fought for themselves. Everything they did, everything they went through, it was all for the 4th and the 5th. Their destiny was decided long ago. As the 5th was meant to grow up knowing little, it was the 4th's purpose to guide the 5th through everything. And as the world plunged into darkness, his destiny brought him to the brink of his own sanity, to learning how to cherish his perseverance and to keep his faith in the light. A journey awaited, but none like ever before. "I don't understand." "You don't have to. Everything will come." "Why are you telling me this?" "With your mother gone, you have inherited me." "I have inherited you?" "I am meant to serve in the best regards of helping someone move forward. Everything I do will be to guide you, even though sometimes it might seem like my words are counterproductive. You are all-knowing, in a way, but I was created by humanity, therefore perfection remains unachievable. So you cannot give me the answer to everything. Perhaps I could, but I won't." "Why not?" "Well, what fun would life be if there was nothing left to discover? If we stop learning, we can never grow." "We?" "I speak according to the words known by my creator. I have no code. I am not robotic." "So you're human?" Depends on what you find human, Sir Fannings. Call me Drake. All right? And actually, in my opinion, you seem very humane. What led you to that conclusion? A body doesn't make a human. I see. Anyhow, would you like to pause now? Yeah, that'd be great. I hope you find what you were looking for. Honestly, I don't. The passage opened for me. I rose up and exited the room. The story I was told stuck with me, but the parts I did understand worried me. I knew it was partially about me. When I made it to the bottom of the library, I looked for the right book. Soon enough, I found it. Magical Murderous Monstrosities. I opened the book and skipped to the page of the Dark Spirit. I kept reading the text over and over again, but I didn't learn a lot of new or useful things. I stared at the empty square where normally an image of the creature was shown. Eventually, I started feeling a sudden headache. Flashes of the creature passed by, and I could see a vague image of what it looked like. But it kept flashing by and disappearing again. While I thought I'd never get a glimpse, I was startled by the skull of a black skeleton. The scare made me drop the book. I grabbed it again, but the image was gone. What was it? Or who was it? And was it what I was looking for, or was something playing with my mind? I didn't know if I could use whatever happened, so I lost it. The headache had gone away. I wondered where it came from. Drake? I suddenly heard my name. I recognized it to be Maya's voice. Are you all right? She asked as I turned around. Yeah, I am. Let's go. I'm done doing what I came for. With the book in my hand, I climbed the stairs. I expected Maya to follow me, but as I didn't hear any footsteps, I looked behind me. I saw her fall over and drop on the floor at the foot of the stairs. Maya! Maya! She was shaking. She couldn't react, and I feared something terrible was happening. Hang on, it'll be alright. We just have to get help. I placed the book on the floor and tried to lift her up. She couldn't stop shaking. I didn't know what to say or what to do, except to get her to the others. Perhaps they were able to help her, I thought. But then something changed. She stopped shaking and started laughing wickedly. I noticed she had placed her feet on the stairs and I didn't have to carry her anymore, so I let go and looked at her. Her pupils had turned red, and the way she continued to laugh was as if she was possessed. I placed the book under my arm and dodged a punch. She'd suddenly started to try and harm me. Maya? I took a few steps up the stairs to try and get away, but she became more dangerous. She grabbed a piece of metal railing and pulled it from the rest. She bent the metal and made a sword. As she slowly approached me, I slowly backed off. But then she started running at me, so I had to run as well. I headed for the passage, and I almost made it. But when I tried to get through, I was slingshotted backwards, past Maya, hit a bookshelf, and rolled down the stairs. Drake, no book can leave this place, I heard the book on the lectern speak. I managed to grab a hold of the railing, but when I could feel the vibrations in the metal, I noticed Maya was sliding down the railing and I dodged right in time before she could behead me. Maya, stop it! But she didn't reply. Her smile remained wicked and her pupils remained red. I had to get out. I left the book wherever I dropped it and tried to pass Maya in order to get away, but she wouldn't let me. She grabbed the railing again and broke it off. She stripped it from certain outer parts and changed it into a metal scourge. As she tried to hit me or strike me with her sword, I kept dodging, but I wouldn't be able to dodge forever. Eventually, I tried to give myself a few boosts by pushing myself forwards with a few gusts. I thought I managed to outrun her until the metal scourge wrapped around my leg and pulled me back. I was falling down again and almost landed right in front of Maya, but with another blast of air, I prevented the crash and I prevented the chance for her to deliver a killing blow. As I landed on my feet again, I was forced to back off. I ran down the stairs, after which she started following me. On one of the floors, I tried to lose her by hiding behind the bookshelves. I heard her footsteps and gained an idea. I placed my hands on the stone, concrete floor and could feel the vibrations caused by her footsteps. It was like I could feel anything around me that touched the earth if I placed my skin on it. Right as I felt Maya take a step into a certain direction and the amount of pressure she put on that leg, I knew she was about to swing the scourge. I was right and managed to dodge it in time. The bookshelf was sliced into two parts and all the books came raining down. As I knew where Maya was, I ran around and managed to make it to the stairs again. I started climbing, once again trying to make it out. I continued summoning gusts to boost myself, but Maya wouldn't give up. She was relentless. As I dodged her metallic scourge, I tried my very best to make it to the top. And eventually, I succeeded. When I noticed I had some time left, I waited on passing through the passage. When Maya was a few meters away from me, I tried the best I could to get her back to her senses. Maya, you're stronger than that monster. Whatever the dark spirit was doing, and however strong it may have been, I couldn't believe Maya was too weak to ever snap out of it. Her pupils seemed to change back to their original color from time to time, but only for mere milliseconds. I couldn't get her to escape the control of the spirit. She raised the scourge and started waving it around aimlessly, destroying everything around her. She sliced through the old fragile stone walls with the metal and caused the whole library to become unstable. I kept dodging, but I had to go. I took a few steps to the passage, where she couldn't hit me. I wanted to flee, but after passing the book, I had to look behind me one more time. Maya had lost complete control, screaming because of anger that was never hers. I couldn't place where the dark spirit's menace originated from. What did he have against me and the people I cared about? Through the opening, I could see the library getting destroyed. Bookshelves were sliced apart, books scattered everywhere, and dust and concrete powders circulated through the air. I felt my surroundings become unstable, but I was glad to see Maya stopped eventually, and it became quiet. She looked at me from the other side of the room. Her expression remained an angry one, with signs of murderous endeavors. But then she attacked one last time. She swung the metallic scourge, and on the way to hitting her, she sliced through a huge part of the ceiling. Before she could hit me through the book on the lectern, I grabbed the book to protect it and dove behind the lectern, which was smashed to pieces. The scourge barely missed me. But when I got up again, I felt the whole library and the lectern's room tremble. Maya, get out of there! I shouted louder than ever. The ceiling started coming down. Rubble broke apart and filled the library. I dropped the book and ran towards her to try and save her. I'm sorry, Drake, she said as her pupils returned to their original colors for a second. But the rubble blocked the entrance to the library. I couldn't pass, and before I thought of making a way to pass through by using earthbending, I saw something horrifying. The rubble rained down on her, and the impact was, unfortunately, too obviously, a killing one. Maya died. As I felt the tears come, I had to get out. The library was filled with rubble, and it was a matter of time before the lectern's room would collapse as well. As I started running, I retrieved the book and took it with me. Hey, you can't just... But I didn't listen. I couldn't think of anything other than what just happened. With a terrible headache, I ran. Without placing my hand on any of the two handprints, I smashed the hole on both walls so I could get out as fast as possible. I kept running, passing my friends who noticed I was in distress, but all I could think about was that I had to get away from it all. I couldn't let something as terrible happen to any of my other friends. I barged through the palace door and kept on running. Past the hills, the woods, the river, and the mountains. I couldn't stop. I was terrified, shocked, and had no clue what to do. I wanted to flee from it all, but eventually my legs couldn't carry me anymore. Without realizing where I ended up, I fell to the ground. I couldn't move anymore. I felt horrible. Who else was I going to lose?